We have become too teched out as a society, in my opinion. The internet used to be a destination, a place you would visit. When I was growing up, we had a computer room. It was a special place that my parents used to let me visit, this new shiny thing called the internet. I'd come home from school and play Stardoll, talk to my friends on MSN and My Scene for hours. The computer room anchored the online experience, whereas now we can take it everywhere we go and be inseparable from it. So much so that brands market around being in your life 24/7. Netflix once said that their only competition is sleep. Netflix's goal is to be in your life all hours of the day. And that leads me on to what I'm going to be discussing in this video. Modern tech has changed our relationship with how we interact with the world around us. And the renaissance of physical and analog media to reignite the inconvenience of everyday frictions and bring back delight to our experiences. We're now at a place where tech has been optimized to be faster, cleaner, more efficient. My question is that a good thing? You can do everything on a phone or a laptop, stream music, watch movies, talk to your friends and family, all in one unified location. But in doing so, we've stripped away the physical elements that made tech and digital experiences still feel human. And that's why I believe we're seeing a cultural revival in experiencing art and technology in a way that unmistakably reminds us it was made by people for people. I'm going to be speaking a lot about friction, so let's establish a baseline of what that is. Friction are all the different touch points that stand between you and the thing you want to experience. I'll mainly be speaking about friction in relation to art, entertainment, and the macro effect of how we relate to one another. Physical media has an inherently tactile element about it. When you hold a CD player, you can feel the cold, you put the disc in and you hear that click, you close it back and it clicks again. All of that is a sensory experience. Sensory experts in play have actually attributed tactility to positive mental wellness, not only for children, but for adults, because it allows adults to experience joy, curiosity, and relief from everyday stresses. But when you think about the way we interact with technology, art, and media today, whether that's listening to music or watching a movie, all of that is stripped away by a black screen that can do absolutely everything. We've also lost the patience, intentionality, and appreciation that comes with the sort of lead up to experiencing the thing you want to experience. And that goes for also how we interact on a human level. Why bother going to see your family when you can just FaceTime them? Everything is so instant that there's no need to actually access things with intentionality. And that brings me on to my next point, what I will coin the luxury of inaccessibility. Technology has changed how we communicate with one another, making us constantly available to everyone all over the world all the time. You can instantly send a message, which creates the standard of instant expectation of receiving a message back. I'm sure we've all seen those dating advice videos where it's like, oh, if they text you and they read your message, you should take the same amount of time to reply back. And it makes the whole thing so much more complicated than it needs to be. There was a time when speed wasn't the goal of communication. Connection was. If you sent a letter, you weren't expecting a reply the next day. You would probably expect a reply within the next 1 to 2 weeks, and you'd focus your efforts and energy elsewhere. Connection had time to blossom and grow over time, whereas now we are more entitled. We are more demanding of instantaneous connection. Convenience and efficiency has made us a lot more hedonistic. We just want what we want when we want it, and we want it now. And I believe that's why we're seeing Gen Z turn to what they call dumb phones. A dumb phone is a basic phone, usually from the 2000s, or if it's a reissue made today, it has very simple and basic functionality. It essentially calls and texts and doesn't have any of the applications like TikTok, Instagram, or anything else. It's allowing young people who are interested in escaping everything I'm discussing in this video. And that's why I believe Gen Z is going back to dumb phones. An iPhone, you can do everything on it. You can watch movies, you can listen to music, you can FaceTime on it, whereas a dumb phone is quite the opposite. And it forces us to connect with one another. If you can't FaceTime your friend on your dumb phone, what are you going to do? You're going to send them a quick text, set up a date, and hang out in person. Gen Z is redefining what connection means to them by using using tech from the 2000s to reclaim it. When you think about society pre-smartphones, we had something that I will call the beauty of awkwardness, and I will explain exactly what that means. When you go to a party now, let's just say you go by yourself or you're waiting for your friends to come and you're the first to arrive. Everyone in the room already knows each other, and what most people do is, instead of going up to someone and saying, hey, I'm here by myself, I'm waiting for my friends, can we have a chat in the meantime? People will just go on their phones so that they don't look lonely. But if you think about life pre this sort of era where we are glued to screens, you were forced to sit in the beauty of the awkwardness. One thing I've noticed as someone who goes places alone a lot is when you are present and you're not on your phone, even if you are just standing in a room and everybody else is talking, inevitably, and this always happens, someone will come and talk to you. Whenever I go to events alone, within 30 minutes, someone will come and talk to me, because usually someone else in that venue is standing by themselves. But if you're on your phone, you instantly create a barrier saying, I don't want to talk to anyone. This feeds into this loneliness epidemic that we're seeing amongst young people. We've got so many ways to connect that we're not connecting. Because we're so inundated with ways to connect that we've got analysis paralysis. There is an inability to learn those social skills that come from being in awkward situations. How do you learn to speak to strangers if you never put yourself in situations where you speak to strangers, or when you're in those situations, you're looking at a phone? Exposure builds confidence and experience. Like now, because I've forced myself when I'm in environments where I don't know someone to be present, because this very phenomenon that I'm speaking about. But I had to learn that through those awkward moments. I had to learn that social muscle through feeling awkward, sitting at an event and looking around and seeing everyone socializing, making eye contact and kind of experiencing a little bit of social rejection to build up that social armor. But if you never have those exposure moments and you're always in your phone, you're always FaceTiming, you're always in the house looking at a screen, you're never able to build up that emotional resiliency to be able to move past the awkwardness and get to the beautiful part of building a connection, making a friend. This very phenomenon happened to me yesterday. I went to a dance class and I was wearing a t-shirt with Aaliyah the singer on it, and when I got off the tube, this girl came up to me out of nowhere and was like, oh my gosh, I love Aaliyah. And I spoke to her for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Had I done my dance class online, which is possible, the dance studio I go to also offer online equivalents, I would have completely missed that social moment where I got to connect with a complete stranger about a mutual interest in music. This loss of social interaction fueled by the convenience of being able to do everything at home on your screen. How many adventures and connections are lost to just doing it at home, just doing it on Zoom instead of going out into the real world? I'm 28, I'm a 1998 baby, and I am a part of this movement of bringing back analog and physical media. I love film photography. I love the imperfect grain. Even Polaroids, for example, you don't know how it's going to come out when you take the picture. Is it going to have a green tint or a pink one? Is it going to have a light leak? Is the photographer going to have the thumb in the lens when they're taking the picture and all you see is a blur when it processes? All those little things, all those little imperfections, I love that experience being built into analog experiences. Even when it comes to physical media, I recently bought myself a CD player because I want to be more intentional about how I consume music, and my plan with this CD player is to alternate between Spotify, so 1 month has Spotify and 1 month use exclusively my CD player, because I find that I get bored listening to the same playlist anyway, and I feel that getting a CD player will just make the music experience richer. I want to learn to give myself delayed gratification. I'm sure we've all had this experience when you're listening to an album, there are certain songs that you just skip. I want to teach myself not to skip and just listen through the whole experience that the musician wanted me to experience when they created the album. When I think about my childhood, it was filled to the brink with physical media. I had a Nintendo DS and I was obsessed with it. Nintendogs and Cooking Mama and Mario Kart. It was a real bonding experience with me and my friends. We all had Nintendo DSs and we all would meet up at each other's houses and play Nintendo DS together. I think today gamers don't really do that. They just play virtually. They watch another person play on a screen, again, you're missing that sort of human contact, that interactivity, that sensory experience, that play that is good for the mind and mental wellness. I couldn't find any studies that specifically speak to play and sensory experiences for adults, because most of the studies done are on neurodivergent adults. But the articles written by professors who study play and sensory experiences have fundamentally said that play and friction and experiencing touch is integral to the human experience. There is positive correlation between having physical things to play with and touch, like buttons on a CD player. All those things contribute to a psychological level of delight that we don't have when we interact with a plain, flawless, smooth black screen. Now, am I saying life was completely better before technology advanced to where it is now? Absolutely not, because that would be me nostalgia baiting, and I don't want to nostalgia bait. I want to be critical and analytical about the argument that I'm making. What I'm saying is there is a beauty in being able to compartmentalize your relationship to technology. I believe that it is healthier to be able to have a give and take, push and pull relationship with technology. So I know for me, I don't FaceTime people. I want to see you in person. And that is a personal boundary that I've created for myself unconsciously. I've never been someone who likes FaceTiming. I just want to see you. Same with phone calling. For me, a phone call is something I do to get from point A to point B. I'm calling you because I want to know where you are and when we can make plans. I'm not calling you to spend 2 or 3, 4, 5 hours on the phone, because why do that when I can see you in person? I think it is important to have technological boundaries. It's too easy to rely on technology to do everything. The beauty of experiencing some things, particularly connection, art and media, is being fully immersed in it. And I don't feel like I can fully be immersed in connection or a museum, a film, in my home on my phone. I need to go to a museum. I need to go to a theatre. I need to go to a location to be able to hug and smell and feel the person that I want to spend time with. And I believe that those are the elements that are missing in society that is contributing to loneliness epidemic, I believe. On to the topic of music, I want to talk about what I'm going to call the climax to experiencing music. There was a time when you had to put in work to listen to your favorite artist. You had to actually invest a chunk of time to be able to have that experience. Let's take it back to the 1980s. It's 1983, 1984. Thriller is the biggest album in the world. Let's just say your favorite song on Thriller isn't Beat It or The Girl Is Mine. Your favorite song is Baby Be Mine, which is my favorite song on Thriller. It's one of the songs that wouldn't have been getting as much airtime on the radio because it wasn't one of the promoted number ones. Well, today, if you want to listen to Baby Be Mine by Michael Jackson, you can go on Spotify and press the button and listen to the song instantaneously. But in 1984, 1983, you didn't have that luxury. You had to go and buy the CD from the store, and that was if you were lucky to get a CD, because I'm confident that they probably sold out and you had to keep coming back to the store to be able to buy it. That work, that momentum of having to go to the store, all of the connections that you would make on each journey going to the music store is completely eradicated today. We have a frictionless experience and relationship to music. But the reason I know we crave friction and we like friction is proven by the very phenomenon of music. In the US, vinyl records reached $1 billion in March 2026, marking the format's first time reaching this milestone since 1983. Interestingly, 1983 is the same year Michael Jackson's Thriller single and music video were released. 4 decades later, vinyl has climbed back to that level, placing today's record revival in the same commercial territory as the height of the Thriller era. It's worth noting that album is the highest selling of all time to this very day. This proves my argument that we as human beings, no matter how efficient phones are, how easy laptops are, we still crave the touch points it takes to get to experience things. We like the trials and hurdles it takes to get to experience something. We don't like ease. Ease is boring, it's placid, it fundamentally strips us of what makes human experiences human. That we as human beings, we crave friction, and this sort of explosion in vinyl record sales proves my thesis that we as human beings, we like inconvenience. There is something about imperfection that we are fascinated with. I believe that vinyls are experiencing such a boom because music lovers like the physical elements that are imperfect when it comes to the vinyl listening experience. The crackle, crackles, the pops, the hissing sound when the music is playing from a record player versus a digital speaker like this one. The sort of journey to be able to listen to the music, it's not just hitting play, it's an experience that you have to go through to even get the music. And when you go to the store, you get to bond with other music goers. I think of it this way: it's like riding a bike to a destination versus driving an automatic car. When you're on a bike, you can get the fresh air, you might bump into your neighbor or someone else you know and have a conversation and connect. That is the difference between listening to a vinyl versus listening to a streaming app. The automated experience, yes, it's a smoother, frictionless experience, but is it a joyful experience? Is it an experience that's going to boost your mood and do something physiological to your body? Probably not. Whereas having a bike ride would. That to me is the difference between analog and physical media and where we are today with black screen culture. I don't think I've heard anyone say that, but that's what I'm going to call it. Black screen culture, where we are attached to black screens. There is also something really important and key in this conversation. Physical media and analog is a form of cultural preservation. When you think about the digital experience, someone can upload a YouTube video. Let's just say Beyonce drops a song today. She can upload that video and delete it the next day. Whereas when you own something physically, it is yours, whether that artist, that entertainment platform, whatever it is, decides to alter that media, change a lyric, change a graphic, change a visual. When you own something physically, it is culturally preserved in its original state. And there is something really important about preservation. If you think about museums, they spend thousands on maintaining archival content to be able to be preserved for next generations. Whereas in a technological age, when a piece of art and media is purely digital, it can be altered or deleted at any time or locked by subscription services, which are going more costly every single year. Owning a physical disc or record allows you to reassert control over your own tastes. This very phenomenon happened with a book. I believe it's called Pretty Little Liars, where they changed one of the lines in a book to say TikTok in it instead of some reference from the 2000s.
Pretty Little Liars readers have noticed that some digital versions of the famous books are being updated with modern references. This has gotten a lot of attention after a person shared a photo of her electronic PLL book online. The book was originally from 2006, but now mentions TikTok instead of the older show Fear Factor.
And that shows history can be rewritten, whereas when you own something physically, you have ownership over the integrity of that art. There is also something to be said about AI and the fact that wholly digital mediums can no longer always be verified as entirely human-made. Physical media, such as books printed in their original year of publication, CDs, vinyl records, and photographs, give us a stronger connection to their origins and authorship because their creation is easier to trace. We have become too teched out as a society, in my opinion. And I believe the way out of being teched out is to reintroduce friction intentionally. And that is not me saying make your life hard for the sake of making it hard. What I'm saying is there should be a distinction between each experience. How you listen to music, how you experience film, how you experience artistry, how you experience fashion. I believe that there should be an intentional compartmentalization of your favorite thing to continue experiencing the maximal joy that you can from that thing. Instead of looking at art on Instagram, go to a museum. Instead of listening to your favorite song on Spotify, if you love that artist, buy their CD, get a CD player and listen to it through the lens of how it was supposed to be listened to. Listen to it from beginning to end. Because most musicians, when they write their set list of songs, it's supposed to be a story from beginning to end. And when you listen to a singular song on Spotify, you're stripping that song of the context of the entire album. I don't believe that technological progress is about making everyday life frictionless. Tech should be used for medical advancements, discovering new things in the world of science. That's where we should have tech innovation that makes life more convenient for health purposes, research purposes, educational purposes. In terms of experiencing joy, in my opinion, joy is something that we shouldn't actively do everything we can to sanitize and make more efficient. Joy just is. Joy is imperfect. To me, what I'm discussing is the creative version of touching grass. When people say go outside and touch grass to those who are far removed from reality because they are chronically online, I don't believe they're actually saying go outside and touch actual grass. I believe they're saying interact with the tactile world so that you can have experiences that show you that everything that happens online isn't real. It is just its own artificial world. There is a real world happening outside, but in order to experience the real world, you have to touch it, you have to taste it, you have to smell it. The renaissance of physical and analog media, or rather experience art in the way it was intended to be experienced. It's the slow living and patience built from having to engage with the physical world to experience your favorite things. Let me know in the comments what you think about the resurgence of physical and analog media, and my take on this is going to give you the ick when I say it: friction-maxxing. The truth about why Gen Z is disillusioned by modern tech is because it's more convenient, but it's not necessarily more fun.